You gonna play the music or what?
What's going on, everybody? It's Tuesday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, just outside of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. For some of us, anyway. Not all of us, but some of us. And it's crazy because in just a moment's time, I'm going to be joined by three wonderful individuals. One I'm not so sure about. They can figure out which one that is. I want to just take a moment and say, for those of you that have been commenting on this channel since way back when it was called Fandom Cantina and saw the video of me going to TIFF, it was a time-lapse video that a bunch of people put together, or a couple of people put together. Some of you have been commenting since then. So for those of you that have been dedicated to do so and follow us on our little journey through this little horror trilogy that has been bestowed upon us, thank you. It really is appreciated. And if it ever at times feels like it's not appreciated, well, you might be right, but we try. Also joining us tonight, he is Kieran.
I know where that was going and then wasn't going.
I'm like, fuck, shit.
Fuck. It's like, oh, and also with us, he doesn't really fucking do anything around here. It's Kieran. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. A long day once again. You know, right now on Tuesdays, I go work, podcasting right away. I quickly made a sandwich and got myself a glass of coffee here, cold coffee, and good to go now. I'm good to go.
Nice. Also joining us, he's the host of the Take One podcast. He's also the host of the Four Wide podcast, which is his NASCAR podcast. And he's also the co-host of this show alongside the Overlook Drive-In. This dude deserves a raise. It's Mr. Bish. What's going on, man?
I don't want a raise, man. I just want a piece of Kieran's sandwich. Kieran, where's my part of the sandwich?
Ooh.
It's in the mail.
Anyways, doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. Glad to be here. A lot to dive into. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad T-Brad's on. Glad Johnny Fandom is on and Kieran is on. Got a full panel of guests. And of course, glad you're on, Sean. Good to see everybody. Appreciate everybody in the chat. And I'm ready to dive into it.
Yeah, it's almost like something happened today. Also joining us, he is the host of the Bros Before Bros Twitch gaming channel. I'll get it down eventually. I mean, hey, Bros Before Hoes too. You know, I get it.
That's a whole different issue altogether.
Oh, don't get Mike started on that word, or else everybody's going to get offended and fly out of here. You know.
I mean, no comment.
What's going on, Mr. Fandom? What are you doing?
What am I doing? Well, I'm shining up this lovely piece of gold right here.
Nice.
Pretty.
Terrible reflection.
He's trying to pick up the Eagles defense on the waiver wire is what he's doing.
Well, no, we're intelligent. It's a dynasty league, Mike. We don't use defenses. Who uses defenses in dynasty? But it's beautiful, it's glorious, it's golden, and it's mine. And it'll stay mine at least until the end of the season.
A lot of confidence in your team there, eh?
Well, no, but I'm a realist, and I'm more likely to bring the trophy home next year than the belt back again, because you don't win Dynasty 2 years in a row unless you're really, really lucky. I guess I am that, so yeah, I'm going to keep this too.
Also joining us this evening, I'm quite confident he's not playing or winning any fantasy football. When Halloween 2018 came out, I don't know if he'd seen a Halloween movie, and if he did, he wasn't overly into the franchise, but since then, he's had a chance to basically experience them all. It's Mr. T-Brad, otherwise known as Tommy B. What's going on, dude?
Yeah, we've been all over this, dude. I grew up, saw the first movie.
Can't hear you.
What?
You can't hear me?
Well, I could hear you, but you were mumbling. You were very low. Nobody could hear you.
Well, maybe you need to open your fucking ears.
How does
Speaking
one
for us, I could hear him perfectly fine.
He's not coming across very loud for me at all. I don't know if audience, if Tommy seems quiet on your end, let us know.
How about now?
That's much better. Much.
I didn't even do anything. Like I changed my dials like a quarter centimeter.
I also raised your volume on StreamYards by about 20 points. So,
okay, cool. So we've been over this. I saw the first movie a bunch, when I was a kid. Saw the second movie, at least in portions. Saw Halloween 4, here and there because I recognized the opening scene, if nothing else. Yeah, I was no newbie to the Halloween movies, but definitely a newbie to the fandom and to the following, all that good shit. Yeah, Melissa's saying, me quiet, yeah, right. I guess I got a big fucking mouth, huh? Guess I run my fucking face. Yeah, that's nothing new. Got a story for that one. Maybe we'll talk about it later. Maybe not. Yeah. I've been enjoying the ride, enjoying the fandom as we've been diving in it. Halloween Kills was definitely the first one I saw in theaters. Maybe the only one. We'll see, honestly. Something else.
You have that right. You can watch it on the Peacock.
I'll be able to watch it same freaking day.
You'll probably be able to watch it many other ways that we won't advertise on here, too. That's what happens when you put it on the Peacock. So,
the Peacock.
The Peacock. So we're going to do a trailer breakdown here, and we're not going to go over every frame of the trailer, but we're going to pull it up and basically let 10 seconds play silently and stop and just go over what we see. I don't know how the image quality is going to be. I noticed when I think Kieran, Johnny, and I watched a trailer last night that just I found was like way darker for some reason on StreamYards than it actually was on YouTube. So we'll do our best and see how it goes. But before we dive into it, have we all seen it already? I would hope so.
I have.
So, Mike, how you feeling, man? we've all been pretty, shall we say, not necessarily on Team Blumhouse for the direction of the movie necessarily, but what do you think of the trailer? The final trailer of this trilogy.
I mean, I've been on record saying that I really didn't want a second trailer with all the TV spots that have released, which were a lot more than I personally expected. So I didn't really need a new trailer, but if I have to be honest with you, Sean, I really liked the trailer. I thought it was a good trailer. I thought it was solid. Nothing really turned me off. There were a couple of things in there that we'll dive into deeper when we go through the breakdown that I kind of wish was left out. But other than that, I thought it was overall a really good trailer. They fixed a couple of things that they kind of let slip up, but at this point, doesn't even really matter fixing it. But overall, I really enjoyed it, man. I thought it was a really good trailer, and I'm intrigued to see this movie. I'm not going to lie to you.
Kieran, what about you, man? You literally just watched it, and I know you know what direction this movie goes to an extent. What do you think of the trailer?
I'm not gonna lie, like I've actually heard lots of people saying like I don't want to watch the movie really, that like I'm not excited for the movie, but this is a pretty good trailer. And I'm kind of like on the opposite side. I'm intrigued by the movie. Like I want to see the movie, and I want to see what's going to make everyone so pissed, and all the interesting things that have happened have actually only made me want to watch it more. But this trailer is kind of bland to me. And I watched it again. I watched the trailer 3 or 4 times. One being yesterday, one being today in my car, which was really dark because I was out in the sun. And then watching it in my dark basement, it still seemed really dark. Some of the action in it was cool, but honestly, I just thought it was kind of bland. Like it was just, if it wasn't a Halloween movie, I'd be like, oh, it's another one of those things where the slasher kills people and whatever. I didn't really think it was that interesting, to be honest.
Fair point. Fair. Entitled to your opinion. Johnny?
I preferred this trailer to the previous one. Just based on the fact that, heading into the previous trailer, I had stayed spoiler free, and that last trailer gave up the goat. It gave up everything, and
then they go and hide it in this one.
And then in this one, they actively hid the thing that gave it away in the first trailer. So it's like, you guys are called, like, did this really not get noticed in quality assurance that you were like, oh, no big deal? That now you're like, oh crap, people figured it out from that. Well, we gotta hide it now. Like, the genie's out of the bottle at this point, people. Like, if you switch the two around and do, the first trailer with the, with the hidden secrets and what have you, and then this one you sort of reveal it in a way that's intentional, then you have, 2 weeks where people can, discuss and talk and speculate and formulate and, and theorize. Whereas, prior to this, we had 2.5 months. Like, I just, you fucked up. And this trailer was much better because it was intriguing. It actually pulled me in a bit more, to the experience of the film, just because it set it up in a way that I'm actually excited for it now more than I was before, because it did more to intrigue me without giving up the plot. Like, it didn't show anything I didn't know. Sure, it showed me locations we haven't seen before, but everything that it did show was sort of a pull you in, not a push you away if you don't understand what's going on.
Tommy B, how you feeling, man? Trailers in the books. Last one. Did it do anything to make you maybe want to go see this in the cinema?
I mean, the trailer looked pretty cool. I'll give it that. But I'm having a little bit of hard time getting over certain elements of it, right? So it looks like an exciting film, and if I had a crew, fairly large crew, who was actually diehard interested in going and seeing this movie, despite knowing what we know about it, I'd be more open to doing it. But that is not the case, so it's kind of a toss-up at this point still. No one ever said that. No one ever said that.
So this is what I'll say about the trailer is I found it to be a lot more honest than the first one. The first one, and I don't know how openly we've spoken about this on the channel, so some of you might consider this a spoiler. It's not about anybody's fate, rather who the lead of the film is. And when you watch that first trailer, you would never in a million years think that the lead of the film is a guy that I think appears once very briefly in that first trailer. And in this trailer, you literally start with Corey and you have Corey come up multiple more times. Other than Jamie Lee Curtis, he has the most dialogue in the trailer. I don't know how often we've actually mentioned this on the actual YouTube channel. I know we've talked about it on Lampkin Lane over on Patreon. But Corey Cunningham is the lead character of this movie. It's not Laurie Strode. It's not Allison. They both have significant amounts of screen time. But the person's story that this movie follows is Corey Cunningham's story. And I thought that this trailer, while it might not have spelled that out, they at least leaned into it more. And I thought they probably should have done that with their first trailer. Any thoughts on that, fellas?
Nah, I agree.
Yeah, no, I got the idea of the first trailer and people being upset, and once they realized that one little thing that kind of gave away, an important plot point, like we didn't get that in this. So it does seem a lot more straightforward because you wouldn't think seeing that first trailer that this guy's anything but someone who just gets killed quickly or whatever, but. So it's more honest, and it's probably better in that way. It didn't bother me so much, and I had to have that thing pointed out to me, so I don't know, maybe I'm just blind. So, whatever.
It did a much better job establishing that, this isn't just about Laurie. We went into this with a certain expectation that it's about Laurie and Michael, and that's not completely the case this time around, and this trailer sort of makes that very clear very early.
Toronto Freddy says the dialogue is cringe once again. I think he's referring to Jamie Lee Curtis in the trailer. I'll say this. I love Jamie Lee Curtis's performance in Halloween 2018. I think it's the best in the entire franchise in terms of what she's done. I don't think there's a role close to that, in my opinion. It's definitely not the first one. You might argue H2O to some extent, even if you're not an H2O fan, just the performance she puts on in that movie. To me, it's H2O 2018. She didn't have very much to do in Ends, so it's hard. Sorry, Kills. So it's hard to really dissect that. It's very much like Halloween 2, where she really doesn't do much. Although at least she's part of the end sequence in that movie. But whenever they have her voiceover trailers, I do not think it adds to the movie. I think it takes away from it, and it usually sounds fucking terrible. I don't know what you guys think about that. I'm not trying to hate, but I'm with Freddie on this one. It almost always comes across corny, even going back to the Kills trailers. They didn't do that with 2018, but they've been damn sure to do that with the last two. Just, lean in heavily to the Jamie Lee Curtis bit, which is fine. She's your star, but less voiceover during the trailer, because I doubt that the dialogue she delivers in the movie is anywhere near as cringy as how it sounds in the trailer.
That's the thing
I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with narration in a trailer is that 9 times out of 10 it's dialogue that's taken from the cutting room floor and put in over the top of scenes and clips from inside the movie, and it just never fits right because it's dialogue without context. Even when it is dialogue from inside the movies, unless it's actively coming out of the character's mouth while they're saying it, it just doesn't hit because it's not it's not contextually accurate to whatever it is you're seeing. Unless you're doing a full story narration with one character or one person, then it can be fine doing, narration that's not dialogue from the film. But it more often than not, it misses just because it's, non-contextual to what you're saying. And it's very difficult to separate the audio and the visual in your mind, right? Like, you see it, you hear it, and you think that these two things should connect. And in trailers, that's very often not the case, because it's, not at all contextual. Whereas, if you have like a flowing narration over the entire trailer, you can make that work and have it separate because it's intentional and it's, from that way from the start. But again, this just felt, I like the word cringe in general, but it felt forced and awkward.
Everyone knows it should have been Big John and Little John narrating the start of this, but
that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, it would be. It would have been awesome. Everyone knows it would have been awesome.
I'm still a fan of those.
I don't know. To be honest, when I hear complaints about dialogue in a horror movie, I don't know how many horror movies these people have seen, but it's not really Shakespeare very often. So I'm not. I don't know. It doesn't really ever bother me if it's like The Evil Dies Tonight didn't even bother me that much. Like, I know a lot of people were over the top about how much they hated it, and it was like, okay, whatever. Like, it was kind of a corny, like it was kind of silly, and him just running through the hospital and then be like, actually, Evil Dies Tonight, forgot to tell you. Like, Special Bulletin was, yeah, it was kind of dumb, but I've seen enough horror movies now to know that, like, it's not normally like super dialogue driven or characters growing or learning or whatever. It's not to say that there isn't horror movies where the dialogue is good, but they're few and far between in my opinion. So
there's definitely those that exist for sure, but
yeah, they definitely exist.
There's not many slaps.
I'm sure they're Mike Flanagan.
Hey, don't be bashing Mike Flanagan.
I know. You can't do it on here.
Damn right. Flanagan hater.
Flanagan sucks.
Wayne Gawkey says, well, thank God Sheriff Barker is back. He will save this trilogy. Just gave one.
I don't think there's more of an irrelevant character in this trilogy than that guy.
How does he still have a job? Like,
I don't know. It looked like at the hospital he was stressed out. Looked like he was done. Looked like he was going to be done. And then now he's hopping out of police cars looking shocked, like this is the first time he's ever fucked up or seen anything happen. But whatever, dude.
Bunch of murderers and rapists let free. What are we going to do? Cancel Halloween?
Wow.
I think that's what would happen in the real world. I think if the real world that happened, like if there was like a psych break anywhere near my hometown, I think they would probably tell everyone to stay home.
And one thing about this trailer too that I don't know how well it's written or if it's supposed to be written this way, but when Laurie's talking about Michael and Allison is just saying you're just obsessed with death, it's like, well, she tried to tell you in 2018 that he was coming and nobody wanted to fucking listen. So like, is it really out of the ordinary to like believe that Michael is still out there or coming back? Like, is it really that hard to believe? Like, I don't know. That was
you're missing some context there. I
figured. Yeah,
for sure. Oh, Steve Evans says, by the way, this is a Q&A show, guys. So, I mean, if you want to support the channel, you can do so. You can sign up for Patreon, patreon.com/Fandom Empire, all that good stuff. We have a Lambkin Lane coming up this Sunday. We just did one last Sunday. And then we'll have one more prior to the movie after this Sunday as well, and a couple after it. Or you can send in a super chat. But it's a Q&A show for Halloween while we're on Halloween for the next little while. So just get in your questions, and we'll get to as many of them as we can. And yeah, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight. It's going to be fun. And a little later on, we're going to talk Deadpool 3. Hugh Jackman's returning as Wolverine, official, not just a report, an official announcement and a release date. We're also going to touch a little bit on Andor, a little bit on House of the Dragon, and maybe talk some wrestling, although I have not talked to Jared today, so I don't know if he's coming on or not. But
He's in the
anywho,
chat.
well, that's the only time I've talked to him today. So, guys, let's dive into a trailer here. I'll have to be quick to mute this thing. I was not quick. Alrighty. I don't know how well everybody can see this, but we'll play 10 seconds or so and stop. So everything with the tunnels, I don't know about you fellas, but everything with the tunnels, I really dig. It brings me back to one of my favorite movies is The Fugitive. So like when I see the cinematography looking like that, it totally gets me. I geek out.
So you're saying it was the three-fingered man?
It was the three-fingered man, the one-armed man.
I Michaeled it, but yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think of the beginning portions here, which focuses on Corey about to meet Michael here?
I like that it actually looks like sort of small town Midwestern storm drain system, which is clearly what it's supposed to be, but it actually looks like that. You know, like that's not something that's easy to do to get that sort of weathered old look like something that's may not even be functional anymore to the town's actual infrastructure, but is still there because it's cheaper to just leave it alone and not do anything with it. And they've captured that quite nicely.
It's definitely eerie. Definitely eerie, you know. I didn't get who said it in the chat, but what was it? Oh, it's right there, Dean Renner. Yeah, Corey looking for Pennywise.
A couple people have mentioned that there's no sound on the trailer. Yeah, we can't play sound. So we'll go 10, 15 second spurts here. Hopefully the stream doesn't get taken down. If it does, stay with the link. We'll be back. It usually takes five minutes or so to get back up. So that's what she said. Kieran, thoughts on the tunnel portion here, the sewer area? It's I know you're a Fugitive fan. Does it give you that vibe at all?
I didn't get that vibe, and that is one of my favorite movies. But I do really like it. It looks cool. I like the way it looks, and what happens right after this, I think it looks cool. So, yeah, I dug it.
Anybody else? I don't know if everybody's gone yet. Mike?
Yeah, I think it looks great. And even throughout the entire trailer, from beginning to end, I enjoy the color tone of this so far. And what I've seen, I agree. I think it looks really good. I like the shots. I like looking down the tunnel and then looking back up at Corey. I think this whole sequence is shot pretty well.
Yeah, I dig it. It's definitely a unique way to shoot it. It feels very claustrophobic even. This is a very different feeling Halloween movie. I know there's some people that are going to see it and be like, oh, the stalking's back and this and that. And to an extent it is. But it's still not the feeling of the original movie. That's not what they're going for. Let's continue. Wait, Tommy, did you have a chance to say anything? Chime in, guys, because I
Tommy's hiding underneath the Fandom Empire logo right now.
Here, I'll hide myself.
I said it looked eerie. Eerie, yeah.
Well,
not much more to say beyond that.
It does look eerie. All right, here we go. My God, it's the Thing from Addams Family. No.
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
So,
I'm concerned Tommy's not watching the same trailer we are.
Yeah.
Maybe he wants to Halloween 6 Michael. I mean, that's possible. That floats his boat.
Seems like he's watching an episode of Friends.
Fucking Friends. We got Zach Arnold coming in here now.
How do we feel about
Shit.
them being so open with the Michael and Corey encounter in the trailer? Do you think that's showing too much, or do you think that's okay?
I think it's showing too much if you know what you're looking at, but I think it's totally possible that many still don't have any freaking clue. So whatever.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I'm
mean,
sure
I've
the
talked to
general
people.
public doesn't know.
No, I mean, I've talked to people who are really looking forward to this movie, but have no idea what's going on, and this is just another normal scene to them. So for people who dig into it a little bit more, like, obviously we know a lot more, and even just the average person who has dug into it a little bit and know that Corey is heavily involved. I mean, I don't know. So for me, maybe a little bit, but it didn't take away. It didn't take away from the trailer at all. I just think this whole sequence and this scene is pretty cool. Even when Michael picks up this knife, but I've talked to several people today who have no idea about Corey as far as how much he's involved or anything like that, and it's just another person to them. So
Yeah,
Almost-
I mean, and you got to think how many people who I know a bunch of people who aren't heavily involved in, the Halloween franchise, but they're going to go see this movie because it is a horror movie in October. Like, I know many of people who are going to go on date nights that want to go see just a horror movie. So a lot of people aren't going to know what's going on.
I think this trailer, though, we haven't gotten to that point yet, though. I do think the fact that you can, like, you see Corey literally say Michael is coming, and it like you'd have to be blind to not see that that's the same character that's encountering Michael in the sewer. So I do think in this trailer, at least, there's a little bit more to put together in terms of, Corey is a big part of this movie, and he encounters Michael in the movie. But I think people might be able to read more into it than that. It'd be really cool to like survey people, like the average going audience member going into like a movie theater being like, what are your expectations for Halloween Ends? Like, ideally people that don't sit here on YouTube watching breakdown videos. And I'd be literally like legitimately curious to see what their answer would be, and then to interview those same people after the movie. It'd be really cool. Now that I'm thinking about it, I might actually try to do that. We'll continue. It's tricky because I never know like how much we can play this before they're like, nope, we're taking it down. I do like the look and feeling of Haddonfield. I think it feels way more like Halloween than the previous two movies did. I thought that they
Absolutely.
cheaped out at times on set design in the previous two movies.
I can agree with that. I mean, cheaped out. I mean, they weren't exactly cheap, right? Not for what they were, but yeah, I agree. This the environment looks a lot more festive, if you want to put it that way.
It's kind of weird because we get like, I don't know. I feel like it's weird that they've gone back to celebrating 4 years later and they're still not fucked. Like, I feel like there should be less festiveness right now because it's only 4 years removed from Michael killing like a lot of people in the town. Did they all just move away and like all of a sudden people came back and are like, hey, I never heard anything bad about this town. Let's go ahead and have Halloween.
No, you probably have that fuckhead sheriff that's like, you know what? Let's kind of put things in the past and it's time to move on. Like,
He was
that's
probably
that's probably what happened. But like, this
He was
is
probably like $100 to the person with the best decorations this year.
Yep. And this shot right here with Michael behind the tree and she looks over and Michael's gone. It's classic Michael to me, or classic shape, I should say, to me. So I enjoy this. Is one of the couple that stick out to me that I really wanted to point out. Again, you see the Halloween, decorations in the background, although simple, you kind of have that feel. And again, throughout the trailer, you have that feel is more of a type fall type Halloween feel. So, but this scene in particular, I really enjoy.
I love how much this actually looks like a small town where you have the house on the left with just a really cheap string of pumpkin lights, and then the house on the right that has their Christmas lights up a month early and is just happy that they're red.
Fair enough.
Keep playing this thing.
Yeah.
Another shot. Love that.
Which one was that, Mike?
Out the window.
Yeah, out the window, reminiscent
out the
of
window.
the 1978 film. Obviously, not exactly, but looking out the window, seeing Michael behind the laundry sheets. This kind of reminiscent of that. This was the other shot that I really loved in the trailer. All the leaves on the ground. Again, you get that feel, but you also get that nostalgia that I feel like is not done. It's not overly done in this one. A lot of cool callbacks. I feel like throughout this movie and trailer that we've seen so far that I don't think are overboard, that I think are done really, really well. And this is another one of them.
Big props to the grip standing just off screen with the leaf blower too. Excellent performance.
Yeah,
I love a big part of Halloween to me is this type of thing where not just looking out the window, but sometimes looking in the window, which we did get to see again in this trilogy. But just those shots, like they come up with really creative shots throughout this whole trilogy all the time, and it's like definitely a staple of Halloween movies that I really appreciate.
So I'm going to be the negative Nancy here and say,
"Oh, fuck off! Just press play."
Mike brought it up, the whole nostalgia thing, and I love nostalgia like most people. Like there's a lot of stuff that comes back and it's like, yeah, I can't wait for the next Star Wars or a Game of Thrones prequel. I do love nostalgia, but holy fuck, enough already. Like, make a film that stands on its fucking own. Seriously, how many Easter eggs and callbacks are there in those first two movies? Littered with them everywhere. Almost every other fucking scene. It's that much. And for as different of a movie as Halloween Ends is, it kind of annoys me that in the trailer it's like, oh, hey, it's 78, it's 78, and I feel like people are going to get their expectations up and going in thinking it's a love letter to 78, when in reality it's far closer to Halloween 3 and The Curse of Michael Myers than 78. But the shot is still nice. It just almost feels a little forced. Because isn't it Laurie looking out the window too? I don't want to click it here because it might reset us, but I'm pretty sure that was Laurie looking out the window. It's a little forced. There's another moment like that in the trailer too, where she's leaning up against the door. And it's, come on, like.
Nah, see, I love that. Sorry.
You can have one or two. Why do you need both? Like, it's. I don't know. It just feels like they're unable to, again, my opinion, unable to stand on their own 2 feet at times when it comes to doing certain things, which is frustrating. And I'm someone that loves seeing the Season of the Witch Masks in both of the last 2 movies. I thought that was great. But member berries. Thank you, Toronto Freddy. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, I agree. I think it's too much, but it is a nice shot, and I do like that. Hey, it actually looks and feels like fall, because there's some Halloween movies that don't. Yeah, I like that shot. That shot reminds me of LL Cool J and Halloween H2O.
Oh, it's not allowed to remind you of anything. It reminds you of something. It's a callback.
I would rather it be a callback to a different Halloween movie than constantly going back to 78.
I'm concerned that in 2022, we're still running a radio station with equipment from the 1960s.
It does look that way, doesn't it?
It looks like they're trying to.
This looks like Radar's office from an episode of MASH. Like
I was just gonna say, it looks like they're trying to radio someone to tell them Charlie's coming up behind them.
Yeah, I think this is a cool shot too. Yeah, I'll save what else I have to say for this scene later. But
Yeah, I dig. I dig the. Wait, I think I know where you're going with that. But yeah, let's save it. If you're talking about this specific moment here. Okay, yeah, we'll save it. Anybody else have any thoughts of this? I didn't notice how old the radio equipment looked until we stopped it here. And yes, it looks terribly out of date.
They're doing an episode of Amos and Andy.
There was a early draft of Halloween H2O where Laurie traps Michael under a pool, and that's basically how he dies. Never
Wouldn't
ended
that
up
have been the worst meme in history? Michael gets killed in a pool in a film called H2O.
How do you wait? Oh. Well, that's
like, how does somebody actually write that? And be like, yes, that's amazing. Like, what? No.
That's pretty painful. But I'm still kind of stuck on how do you trap someone under a pool?
Well, you put a pool cover over top of them. Have you never seen that before? Like an electric pool cover?
Do you have experience with this?
Well, I mean, or you know, it's October and there's just one of those covers on the pool, and maybe she pushes Michael onto the cover.
Wait,
Tommy, you watch Supernatural just like I do. That's literally an episode. Was it season 1, season 2? It's early in the series. That's literally what happens.
I don't remember.
Is that the one where they get mistaken for, you know?
No, that's the bed and breakfast where they think they're the gay antiquing couple.
That's what I was talking about.
Oh, well, then I missed your reference. To me, that's the gay antiquing episode. That's the only thing that stays in my head.
I think of one of the I can't remember exactly which one, but one of the Lethal Weapon movies. They go to the house, and the guy gets pushed in the pool or something like that, but he can't get out because he's stuck in the cover. It's hard to get out of the cover when you're in the water.
I've seen stuff like that before. Yeah, I mean, it's just too big, right? And you can't move around effectively enough.
The last little bit with that female character that we saw, and then this just feels like, oh, I'm watching an episode of CSI.
I basically just saw that woman. Was like, wow, that looks like a top that could easily fly open, and you could see boobies. That's all I took away from this last little bit.
Kenny asks us, how many times have you seen Halloween 1978, and have any of you guys watched it recently? Well, for me, I don't. It depends on what your definition of recent is. It's probably been about a year for me. Whenever the last time we did it on the channel would have been the last time that I watched the first Halloween movie. And God, I don't know, 40 or 50 times probably for me.
I watched it about 2 months ago, and I've probably seen it 12 or 15 times.
Yeah, it's up there for me too. Probably in this 50s or 60s as well, and I watched it last month, I think. So
I've seen it maybe a dozen times. Most recently, I guess the same as you, Sean. Last time we did it here on the channel.
Yeah. Which stay tuned. We have some watch along news coming up, so it's going to be a busy month of October.
And personally, I have no idea how many times I've seen the movie. Right? It's a classic. It's one of the horror movies you watch during the fall season.
Dean says he's well over 100 views with 78. And Melissa says she started watching when she was 8. And Freddie said earlier, Phantom Empire, so you're saying that you would rather be reminded of a shitload of movies that they retcon, but you're not okay with all the callbacks to the films that these are sequels to. Hey, if you want to callback to Kills or 2018 and ends, then by all means. I'm just fucking tired of the parading out 1978 and acting like it's the only good thing that ever happened to the franchise. It gets really tiresome after a while, at least for me personally. Same thing with Star Wars, though. There's people that talk about Star Wars, and as much as I like Empire Strikes Back, they act like it's the only good movie that ever came from the franchise, and it's like, no, that's not true at all. So
it's the only top 5 in history film that's come out of the franchise, but you know.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
They always people complain in the Star Wars fandom a lot that they always go back to the well of the OG, like they constantly do things in that era, and anyways,
and just now
not
we're
a Star Wars
starting to get
show.
it.
Yep.
So, let's continue. See what else comes up here.
See, her boobies could easily come out of that thing.
Oh, it's the Bobby kill.
Save it.
The Bobby kill.
Save it. Something I don't want to see in the trailer, personally.
Oh, so it's funny you mentioned that because I wanted to bring this up. I think that you can present horror movie trailers where physical stuff is happening, you think someone's maybe about to get killed, without actually showing the fucking kill happen in the trailer.
Agreed.
I think you can show a full, like you could do 3 full trailers to horror movies without actually showing a single full-on kill in the trailer and still make it compelling. And these fucks feel the need to show several kills in the trailer. And I honestly, it's not just these fucks, it's everybody now. Like some films don't have it, but most are like, okay, so here's 4 kills that happen in the movie in the next 2 minutes. Enjoy. Look at kills with the firefighter scene. Like how
Man.
that have been to experience without them using it all over their fucking promotional material.
Amazing.
I think comparatively,
that scene sucked anyways.
I think comparatively, it's a different showing, an individual kill versus what essentially was the biggest set piece of the entire film. Like the firefighter scene was the big action sequence in the film, really. Spoiling that is different from one kill, whereas for horror movies, I'm okay if you show a kill of an unimportant character because I'm not going to be invested in them or their story in the film. So if I see it in the trailer ahead of time, unless it's some super original, high-tech fancy kill that they've never been done before, that's like a big ooh moment, then I don't want to see it. But just, a kill that's been done before with a character that, you probably you aren't invested in. At least that's my hope. I don't know one way or the other. But, of a character that I'm not going to get emotionally invested in or really care about at the end of the day, I'm okay with seeing in a trailer. But I don't want to see, characters that I get emotionally invested in dying in trailers because it takes away that possibility. Because, if you see them die in the trailer, when you see them in the film, when they show up, it's like, oh, you're just going to die anyway. I don't really care about you.
I do want to fire back at that for a second, but if you guys are still watching, please take a second, click the like button. It helps other people find the stream. What did you guys and gals out there think of the trailer? Comment down below. And if you want to watch us, guys do content on this channel of all sorts, feel free to click the subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it. This is what I would say to that, Johnny. I think you're basically spot on, except for when you watch a slasher movie, you don't need to be invested in a character to like really enjoy the kill and see how the kill goes down, because that's one of the reasons a lot of people.
No, you're right. I think that's why maybe I just didn't say it accurately enough. But like if it's just like a generic run-of-the-mill type kill you've seen before, like this one is, then I'm okay with seeing it on screen. Now, if it was something like, let's take Friday the 13th, or no, let's take Nightmare on Elm Street, right? All of his kills were special for the most part. Him turning into the bed, him reaching up through this, all those things I don't want to see in a trailer because they're unique, they're special. But generic stab someone through the chest into a wall, no big deal.
I think the thing that really grinds my gears, if you will, about them showing the Bob callback is most general going audience members, as Mike pointed out earlier, aren't gonna, dissect every frame of the trailer and know all the spoilers or any really. But most general going audience members are also not gonna appreciate the Bob callback the way someone who's a heavy fan of the franchise would appreciate it. And now you have taken that reaction away from them. Not saying you can't cheer it on, but like, there's nothing better than being in front of a fucking massive IMAX screen and the sounds pounding into your ears and you're vibrating in your seat. And like you just have something happen that you did not know was coming. And like to take that away is just such a dumb shit idea, in my opinion.
No, I agree with that.
It's almost better to be a casual fan at this point because, when you're a casual fan and you see this trailer, you're not really like, these things aren't really sticking out to you. You're not like, oh yeah, a woman dies here or whatever. You're not dissecting it. You're just like, oh yeah, it's one of those masked movies where the guy kills everyone. Maybe I'll go see that in October. But the people, who are big fans of Halloween are like, oh yeah, that's that. Oh yeah, that's that. Oh, this is going to happen here. Like you're really thinking about it. You're really paying attention and thinking about the trailer and what happens in it. It's almost better to be a casual fan, see the trailer and be like, oh yeah, it looks okay, and I'll go see it. And then if you're like such a heavy Halloween fan, like just don't watch the goddamn trailer. But I mean, you do because you are a big Halloween fan. You want to know everything as early as possible. Just like all 76 people watching this right now, we all want to watch the breakdown of the trailer and know about it, but it's almost better served if we don't.
No, I agree. It's so hard for me not to watch these trailers because I'm such a big fan, or to run across spoilers. But even so, like I recently went and saw Barbarian, and I've seen that first original trailer when the Black Phone came out. So I went into it very blind, and I walked out just blown away because they went in a total, like, it was just, they just marketed it very well. And I'm just wondering why these other franchises can't do the same. Is it because I'm diving too much into it, or what exactly is the reason? But I go back and I look at the trailer compared to the movie. For example, Halloween Kills, and a lot of the kills that I really enjoyed in that movie or in the trailer. So it does, not saying that it didn't turn out to be a good scene, or I didn't enjoy seeing that scene in the theater, but to Sean's point, being able to see that for the first time hits differently, unexpectedly.
Yeah, like I go back to the firefighter scene. Kieran's favorite scene in Halloween Kills.
Stupid.
So if that firefighter scene would have been much longer, then I can see showing what you showed, but it wasn't. And you not only gave away almost all those kills, you gave away some of the cool camera choices you made too that would have been fun to experience for the first time on a big screen.
Yeah.
And it's always going to be like this though. Like, I got a message today, I think it might have been Dean. I don't remember if it was Dean or not, but someone messaged me this morning and they're like, they once again showed too much. And I agree. I do. I don't think you need to show this much to sell an audience on a movie.
Yeah, and it can be done. I just mentioned a movie that I went and saw that didn't really show much in the previews at all. So it can be done. I don't know. I don't get it.
What was the movie you saw?
Barbarian.
Oh, the new Justin Long movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him hyping it up on a Good Mythical Morning episode this week.
It was really good. Probably top 2 horror films that I've seen all year.
How much was actually shown for it?
And I have to maybe that's because I was it went in a total different direction than what was shown in the original trailer. I don't know. It could have been many different reasons. I'm not heavily invested into that movie like I am Halloween and dissecting it like left and right, and you know what I mean. So that could have been a big factor as well. But I really enjoyed it. But I think, again, the experiences that I've gone into the movie theaters knowing as little as possible, I've enjoyed more.
Joining us for the first time on this show, he is the man behind the Dark Match Drive It's Jared, dude. We're talking about movie trailers. Do you think, just in general, that they show way too much? And do you think you can have a horror movie trailer without showing the full-on kills in them?
Yes and no. I think in a series like Halloween, where the story and the characters are so intertwined, where if you show too much action with one of those important characters, it almost takes away from too much, let alone one of those characters, getting killed. Then that's half the plot right there. I do kind of agree with Johnny's point where, like, a lot of them are kind of interchangeable, or at least they should be. Your typical slasher film, you have, 2 to 3 people at most who are important within that one story, and then they kill off 12 people who don't matter. And that's where you get the really cool kills and all that. But I think the trailer in general should just show enough to get your appetite for, hey, I want to see more kills like that. I'm going to go pay to see the movie. But don't go too far where it's like, oh, shit, well, there's half the story right there. And I don't know. It's tough. But don't do too much. But also try to pique the interest of your audience. So it's hard.
Some discourse going on in the chat right now between Dean and Wayne. Starts off with Wayne saying, I think Malaka Cad doesn't mind losing the OG Halloween fans if everything we've heard is going to happens. He's catering to a new audience. Dean follows that up with, Malak doesn't care about true fans anymore, facepalm. And I will follow both of those comments up by you two gentlemen who obviously, I have much admiration for, and say Malaka Cad is not the problem on this one. And after you see the movie, we can have a long talk about that.
Gotta have the true fans, though.
Yeah, I know. I respect
The
Dean a
true
lot
fans.
too. Awesome, but I can't stand when anyone says true fans.
The only time I want to hear the word true in front of a sentence is Stan Lee saying the phrase true believers. And he's no longer alive, so I don't want to hear it anymore.
Oh boy! All right, let's keep.
Only true fans have seen all the movies 100 times.
I guess it can come before lies if we're talking about the Arnold Jamie Lee Curtis movie.
Oh, shit.
Hey, Karen made the trailer. Oh, they fixed that shot, fellas.
I saw that first trailer and everyone was trying to point that out to me, and put
gun.
my finger on what was wrong with it.
I pointed it out to a couple people too that didn't notice it.
You know what? Now that I'm looking at this, is this completely different? Because that looks like a different gun. Or is that just the way it's lit this time? To me, that looks like a different gun.
It was a different gun in every trailer. Like the next one, she's got a machine gun, and after that, she's got a rocket launcher.
Because I thought she was holding like a revolver type, like Magnum type gun in the other trailer, and that looks like just a standard 9mm ammo.
Maybe it happens twice.
I'm gonna go back to Mike on this one here for a second. Don't you think the outfit is a bit much? Like, come on, give me that.
No, I'm not going to give you that.
What's wrong with her outfit? What?
It's the same fucking outfit.
See, that's the kind of shit I don't know.
But then again, it's like, who gives it? I just don't care.
Her taste didn't change in the last 40 years.
You should see her shoe collection.
It's a plain colored blouse and pants. This isn't like some awkward, pressed t-shirt with a specific, image or something on it that it's like, oh, she still has that shirt 40 years later. This is just the same color blouse and pants. That's pretty generic.
Well, I want to know why in one of the rap videos why Allison was wearing that outfit. Anybody know?
Like
the
if she was
answer to
wearing
that?
something that screamed 70s and was just for whatever reason wearing it in this, I might say something, but
She's fucking psychotic. She wears the same goddamn shirt every day. It's not really that crazy.
It's the same. It's the same gun, Johnny.
Okay.
Here I am going on an outfit. You're fucking worried about what gun she's holding in the image.
Well, that's a pretty
it would've been-
important difference.
It would have been wrong.
Honestly,
if it
honestly,
flips,
to be honest, I just
if
want
it
to see.
flips frames and it's two different guns, that would be a big problem.
I just want to see if they fucked up again. Like in that instance, whether they fucked up or not, throwing the hand in there the first time, just own it.
Yeah.
Like
just put it back in there.
don't cut it out this time. Let it stay in there, and
It makes
that
it
was
more
your-
obvious to people who didn't
Yeah.
notice it.
And that was your plan all along. Now
Should've
it's
been
like you're basically saying, "Oh, we did fuck up." Like,
Should have
don't
been
do
a
that.
6-fingered man this time.
Oh my God, Wayne. I'm not going to highlight that on screen, man, but yeah, I'll give you a
damn it.
pass on that one, buddy. You've been around a very long time.
Normal person says that, you probably get timed out for a few minutes.
Yeah. All right, let's continue on.
Why? What did he do in Ghost of Mississippi?
Made it.
That's my kind of joke, to be honest.
Oh,
God.
oh,
There
Hang
he is. Not that guy.
the star of the film, ladies and gentlemen. He's back, Sheriff Barker.
He
Walking
looks
out that
fucking
damn,
tired.
getting out that damn car, acting like he has never seen anything happen like this in his life. Yet he was at the scene where 90,000 firefighters were murdered and butchered. But whatever, dude. He's you know what? He's probably the same guy that's just like the mayor in Jaws, just ignoring shit and wants to move on. And
Fucking Mare and Jaws. We need to talk about that soon.
God,
sounds about right.
Reminds me
Sounds right.
Reminds me just like he's all about the money. What we gonna do? Cancel Halloween? What we gonna do? Close the beaches?
The Mare in Jaws has a striking resemblance to a teacher Johnny and I had. So,
I
It's been a
feel
long
like,
time since I've seen that. I don't know who you're referring to.
Mr. Judge, minus the beard.
I feel like this guy should be like have all like tattered clothes on now. Like he's just been such a shitty fucking sheriff that he should be like
Well, good news
pretty
is
much
he
fucking
good news is he got a new cowboy hat.
yeah. It's true.
You can't tell me he's not an alcoholic by now.
You can
No,
just
he ain't
tell
looking
what
that
he's
good.
thinking. He's thinking to himself there, I should have canceled Halloween 4 years ago.
I mean, contextually, without knowing what's going on in the scene, I feel like this almost looks like the first time he's actually come face to face with it fresh. Like the first time he's coming, this might even be the first time he's like Michael's there. Wouldn't be the first time they've sort of rallied around him, sort of thing, like caught him but been unable to catch him, type thing. And this is the first time he's actually seeing Michael with his own two eyes. That's just
Most of the
me,
time when you-
that's just
Most
me
of the
trying to
time-
explain this otherwise unexplainable moment.
What like most of the time when you freeze frame someone, they look like they're fucking high anyway. So I'm not taking anything out of this free like spot that we froze it on. He could be in the middle of blinking. Like
The man's sneezing. Leave him alone.
I like seeing a good oxyacetylene torch. Okay, you definitely just showed too much. We're getting canceled.
Meh, be all right. We're done.
You're
It's
muted.
over.
Your
Trailer's
streak
done.
lives on. Congratulations.
I blew it earlier in the show.
Well, it's the first time I noticed it.
Fuck it.
He chucks her over the counter after the credits. But there it is. That is your final trailer to
Just the way that you said that.
Killed
Yeah, he
Kieran.
fucking chucked. Yeah, he's fucking. This trailer was shit.
What's
so
so
Chuck's
different
her
about
over.
Piece of shit.
It's a Friday night in Haddonfield. When doesn't Laurie Strode go over the counter?
I've been chucked over a counter before. It's pretty fun. You should have shown it.
Sorry, I was reading the chat. So yeah, there it is. That's the final trailer to this Halloween trilogy. In general, what did everybody think? I despite some nitpicks I have about, maybe too many callbacks and spoiling kills, it's one of the best trailers they've put together in this trilogy outside of the two, like in terms of kills and ends, it's probably the best trailer they've done. But I still put 2018 in front of it because I thought they did a better job of not showing as much.
Which is crazy because I felt like 2018 was way longer. I'm pretty sure it was. But anyways, no, I definitely agree. I thought it was a pretty good trailer. I'm intrigued overall. I'm just intrigued to see where it's going to go. What we know it's going to be different from what it's been from the past two movies. So I think that's what I'm intrigued with most is seeing if they can land this where it's going to go. And if this trilogy definitively comes to an end. I mean, I know, but it'd be good to see whether that takes place. So
Overall, I thought it was a pretty solid trailer. It showed a lot. There's no getting around that. I mean, they could have kept it much shorter between that. Even there's so many TV spots and yada yada. But overall, it looks pretty cool. I won't argue with that.
you're gonna go see it in theaters.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that one, but
I got my IMAX ticket today, so I'm going to see it in IMAX. So I'm looking forward to that.
nice.
Just because I've never seen a Halloween movie in IMAX, I'm looking forward to that.
I think every time I've watched it, it's way too dark. And
I will
it's
tell you
not
this:
really that interesting.
when I went and saw Jaws in IMAX, I saw the new Black Panther trailer in IMAX, and that shit looks fucking amazing in IMAX. I can't wait to see that. Whether it's going to be good or not, I don't know, but the trailer looked phenomenal in IMAX.
I'm sure it'll be good, but I don't know how good. Like
It's fucking long, 2 hours and 40 plus minutes, I think. 2 hours and 45 minutes.
I feel like it could get really emotional, and I feel like it could be a little bit more. I don't want to say adult, but I don't know, a little bit more serious tone than a Marvel movie has. Which I'm always looking for Marvel to do something different, which they have been recently. So
I lost it. What are you guys talking about?
talking about Wakanda Forever.
Oh, got you. When's that come out again?
November. I was just saying when I went and saw
November.
Jaws in IMAX, that the trailer looked phenomenal in IMAX. So I'd be interested to see that movie in IMAX for sure.
Toronto Freddy says, "Did you hear I can never pronounce this game. This guy's name, Pizwell is going to have the most important character in the Halloween franchise on his bloodstream. The Iron Lady herself. Is that Belisa Lee? Gonna be huge. He's talking about the lady that goes after Michael and kills with the iron. Oh,
I thought Margaret Thatcher died like 20 years ago.
Yep, I know you too well.
The milk stealing bitch.
I sat here and I'm like, do I say Margaret Thatcher before Jer does so that I can just cut him off at the pass?
all right. Well, that's going to do it for Mr. Mike Bish. We have another episode of the The Overlook Drive-In coming out soon, we hope. We just got to find time to record it at this point. And then, Mike, you got your own stuff going on.
Yeah, he's got a sweet hat. Sweet new hat. Fucking awesome.
Thank you. No, so yeah, Take One podcast. Unfortunately, doing the Rob Zombie movies this week. So, if you don't tune in, I understand. The views were down a little bit last week for Resurrection. They were a little higher than I thought. So maybe y'all were bored, but I appreciate it if you did tune in. But doing the Rob Zombie reviews this week, and then which is crazy because I don't know. Time just really snuck up on us. I can't believe we're a couple weeks away from Halloween ends already. So, Take One podcast on all major podcast platforms. As Sean mentioned, the Overlook Drive-In coming in soon. If you haven't checked out the Hush episode, go check that out. Again, that was really good. I guess I'll be back next Tuesday.
Fuck's sakes, fucking mute button. Thanks for doing this, man. It's greatly appreciated, and I'm glad you enjoyed the trailer.
Yeah, for sure. Time to go watch House of the Dragon.
Yay!
Yeah,
And then watch House of the Empire.
Not tonight. It'll be my work podcast tomorrow.
There you
That's
go.
acceptable.
It's a good episode.
All right, later, y'all.
Later.
All right, so we're going to move on. If anybody wants to bring the chat back to Halloween, you can feel free to submit some questions, and we might get to them at the end of the show. If you want to direct it back there, you can send in a super chat. But we are going to move on to what is definitely the biggest news of the day. And no, it is not that there's a new Halloween Ends trailer. It's that thing that has been rumored and teased for what feels like half a decade now. I think it has been about that long. It's official. Today, Ryan Reynolds came out like only Ryan Reynolds can and announced Deadpool 3 with Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine coming out September 2024. When I first seen the image of this, and it wasn't this image I seen first, I immediately thought, oh, more bullshit, We know that, there was always a possibility it might happen, but I don't know if I'm more excited for any other movie that's coming out than this one. Johnny, you're a big Marvel guy, man. I want to go to you first. What was your reaction when you finally got to either read or see the news?
It was actually the Twitter that I saw first, Ryan's actual Twitter video. I was like, oh shit, it's happening, I love the way they played it, with Ryan off the top talking about it, and I know nothing, and then you just see Hugh walk around the background, and he hollers back to him you want to play Wolverine again? Yeah, sure, and just walks away. That's it. To that point, I still wasn't sure. To that point, I was still like, oh, well, they're just doing a fun bit. This is sad. And then it gets to this, where you see the Deadpool logo pop up, and you hear the claw scritch, and then the slash come across, and it's like, oh, that's an actual logo. This is happening. This is real. This is really happening. And then the date pops up, and it's like, it's my brother's birthday in 2 years. It's like, oh shit. Oh shit. This is, this has been, they've toyed with me for so long about this and this possibility happening that now it's like, oh my God, it's real. It's happening. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see it. And I can't wait to see how they do it, because there's so many possibilities in this movie. Like, it's Deadpool's entrance into the MCU, but with a Wolverine that's not likely to actually be in the MCU plain world. So how are we going to get from A to B to C to D? And there's just so many possibilities playing out in my head that now that Ryan has this giant pool to play in, I can't wait.
I see what you did there.
Oh, yeah, no, wasn't even trying to do that, but hey, I'll take the points for it. That was an accidental pun, yet very appropriate when referring to Deadpool.
Punny.
I can't wait to see how this goes. I'm excited to see this play out, and just the possibility of so many things now that if at some point I do not see Tom Holland and Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool, Spider-Man interact with each other, I that's my new team up that I need to see.
Anybody else? Sorry, trying to multitask here. Your big X-Men.
I kind of hate this opinion of myself, but I'm too antsy about seeing new X-Men in the MCU that this kind of, it's like, cool, it'll probably be cool, it'll probably be funny, like I'll probably end up liking it, but like the actual announcement, I was like, oh, all right, cool. Like I've already been on record saying like I'm done with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. He's done a great job. He's awesome. Old Man Logan was a perfect ending for it. There was always that possibility that this was the only thing he would come back for, because he's also gone on to say like I'm done playing Wolverine. Like I'm done. That was the last one. And the one thing that would get it out is his actual real life friend Ryan Reynolds like pulling him out there, which is why the announcement was made so funny. So yeah, like I it's probably gonna be good. I'm probably gonna love it. I have Wolverine tattooed on my arm, so it's not like I'm not excited for it, but like I'm just waiting for a new Wolverine. I'm just waiting for new X-Men to show up in the MCU. It doesn't have to be fucking Phase 8, does it, guys? Like just get it done.
Well, technically we're gonna Miss Marvel aside, we're gonna get our first traditional mutant.
Yeah.
In November.
Yeah. You're referring to Namor, correct?
I am. Yes, he is confirmed mutant.
Yeah, he's a mutant.
I'm saying in the MCU, he's confirmed as a mutant.
MCU is confirmed mutant. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
So he's the first classic mutant.
Well, isn't Kamala Khan actually a mutant in the MCU?
No, she was an Inhuman.
Inhuman. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I do think they brought up mutants at the very
They
last
did. That's why I'm
episode.
saying she's changed. That's the ultimate Kevin Feige fuck you to Michael Eisner for trying to force the Inhumans into the MCU, that he took the big human character and made her a mutant.
Didn't they say something like at the end, like her DNA was mutated or something like that?
They sort of, yes, but that's what I'm saying. Like, she's in the comics, Kamala Khan, it does not have the X gene. She is her powers come from the Terrigen Mists. In the MCU, they're making her a mutant, or at least that's the way it seems, because she obviously had no interaction with Terrigen, unless there was a Terrigen crystal somewhere that we never saw.
You're going way over a bunch of people's head. I'm sure of it.
I am, but those that know. I mean, I know you know, but
Inhumans are created by the Terrigen Mists. Yeah.
I get Kieran's point in terms of wanting to see the new X-Men and see where they go with it. I hope it's a hell of a lot better than what Marvel's been doing lately, because I honestly think most of the shit they're putting out lately is complete and fucking utterly terrible. I find it unwatchable. I'm glad other people are enjoying it, though. I think that this is it. Like, I said this to Johnny earlier. I think I've seen some people being like, oh, so he's going to be Wolverine in the MCU. No, I think this is his farewell. This is the one that I think everybody sort of thought he would come back to do. And he did. And Johnny and I were speculating earlier what a deal might look like for Hugh Jackman to do this, because I mean, Disney has the Brinks trucks. Johnny, what was it that you put out there earlier that you thought a deal for Hugh Jackman
when we were discussing it and you suggested it, I said I think it's 8 figures, points on the bend, and an EP credit.
Yeah, and when you say 8 figures, I'm not talking 10 million. I'm talking somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 or 30 million plus points on the back end, plus an executive producer's credit alongside Ryan Reynolds, who implied that they've been working on the movie for a couple years already. Yeah, and don't forget when actors and actresses are able to secure that executive producer's credit, regardless of how much work they do behind the scenes, they're getting paid for both of those roles. That's not just them getting paid for the acting and then being like, okay, throw me the title too. That's not how that works. So you definitely get paid. Jer, I don't know if you're a comic book movie guy, but what do you think of the news?
You know who's really excited about this news coming out today? Dolph Ziggler. Because that means Hugh Jackman won't show up on Raw and break his fucking jaw again. Which
Are you
legit
sure?
happened. Check it out. But honestly, okay, I'm not the biggest Marvel guy. I think I've seen maybe 2 of them in theaters. But I have seen the Deadpool movies. And they're fucking amazing. So, I mean, more of that, I'm here for it. It's a different kind of movie. Like, it's different than your typical Marvel movie. And I think that speaks to a much wider audience than, the MCU and, that kind of universe. It kind of extends beyond that. And that kind of intrigues me because I don't need to know too much of, oh, hey, what did, Superman do to Captain America in the Civil War to understand where they're going with this. So I think Deadpool is fucking awesome, and I'm really glad they're bringing it back. And yeah, I'm excited.
Just to answer the question in chat before we get back to it, I think it was Variety confirmed back in June that Deadpool 3 would be rated R.
Yeah.
So that's factual. That's not going to be changed.
And
So
hey,
Tommy, you'll have to grow a beard before they let him in to see it.
it's not like we're going to be waiting 3 or 4 years for this thing. It's actually less than 2 years away. So that's fun. It's basically 23 months from now, and looking forward to it. Tommy, you've just gone through basically the entire MCU recently. I don't know if you've seen the Deadpool movies on top of that, but your thoughts on the news?
It's been a little longer than recently, but yeah, I've seen the Deadpool movies. Seen the first one a few times, second one a couple times or so. They're fucking great. Fan freaking tastic. If there's like any iconic adult superhero film out there, it's Deadpool. I can't hear the song that's in the the credits from the first movie without thinking of that fucking movie. But look, I'll say this: I'm pretty surprised that Hugh Jackman's coming back for it. I legit thought he was done. So it's pretty cool. I'm still a little bit, I'm happy to see Deadpool entering the MCU. I know they've said it's still going to be an adult film, R-rated film. I hope that doesn't get fucked up still, regardless. But we're coming in Deadpool 3, but now it's in the MCU. I'm a little curious of what that's going to look like. Still scratching my head at that a little bit. So we're going to see. Overall, I'm happy things are still progressing. It's something that I've been holding my breath for a while. It's like this is going to get chopped. It's going to get chopped off the cutting board, but looks like it's moving forward.
Wayne, sorry, someone going to say something? I thought I heard someone try to talk. No, all right. Wayne asks, so does Deadpool dig Wolverine up or something? Different timelines, I'm guessing. I will say this, even though that'd be kind of funny to see his annoyed look on his face when he comes back to life, there's almost no chance Hugh Jackman would sign off on them letting him touch what they did.
Again, just speculate, just me, pure guessing at this point. I think that the MacGuffin in this is going to be some sort of trans-dimensional portal of some ilk. We already have portals in the X-Men universe with Cable. traveling back in time, Days of Future Past, doing time travel. So we know that portal tech exists in some form or fashion, whether it's a mutant or whatever. I think that's the MacGuffin in this, is some sort of portal technology or something that can traverse the different worlds, and it ends with Deadpool traversing into the MCU film proper. And it's sort of like in a parodied version of the Far From Home ending, you get Deadpool coming into the new MCU version of the X Mansion, and this is just pure speculative part. Whoever is going to be the new Professor X, or one of the whichever tentpole mutant characters they're going to base the new X-Men around, comes across Wade, recognizes the outfit, calls him by name, and Deadpool just has no idea who this person is, and they have a little Deadpool humor where it establishes that we're not in fact, I'm willing to bet that if they do this, Deadpool turns, looks at the camera, and says, "We're not in Kansas anymore, Toto."
I hope that there's no other X-Men in the movie. Just do those two. Leave the rest of the X-Men out. Leave Professor X out. Just do Logan and Wolverine and Deadpool. That's what I would want. But I'm up for whatever they do. And whatever they're doing, they've obviously taken a lot of care with it and time with it to be working on it for as long as they have.
I don't think there's any chance we don't get the classic Deadpool mutants. Like, you're going to have Colossus. You're going to have Negasonic.
I mean, I don't need to see Cyclops and Professor X and Rogue and any of them running around.
Oh, no. Not the classic ones. Like, if you see any of them, it's the new MCU version of them in the tag, basically, is where I'd put it. Do that as the end.
They wouldn't even have to show them. They could just get a voice or something like that. Or like,
also a huge possibility. You see him in front of the X Mansion, and you hear somebody off screen, "Wade, you?" And then Wade looks around and looks at the camera, dead eyes, fourth wall. "We're not in Kansas anymore, Toto." And then you play the X-Men theme and fade out, and that's the tag and sets up the next movie. That's my hope. Will they do it? Probably not. But, I've had a half-decent record at predicting Marvel tags.
There's a pretty fair chance something like that will happen. That's actually, I think that's pretty good.
I mean, I think we all suspect it's going to be some sort of like buddy cop movie, sort of like that, where where Deadpool just fucking drives Wolverine nuts.
It also explains why Deadpool isn't around for Logan, because he's one of the other characters with a mutant healing factor. So he was still alive in Old Man Logan.
I hope they don't include that. I don't see them
include No. I'm not saying that they do, but I'm saying it explains why Deadpool's not there.
Didn't Ryan Reynolds do a thing where he comes up to the grave and doesn't?
Well, yes, but that wasn't real. That was just him fucking around. Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds. Anybody have any final thoughts on Deadpool returning with Wolverine? Alrighty then, we'll shift gears. Fellas, I know Jared's gonna be hot and heavy on this topic. Andor has come out, the first 3 episodes. If you haven't checked it out yet, we have an episode up on the channel of the Moose Too Far, a Star Wars podcast that Ian and I did, where we go through the 3 episodes in about an hour's time, and we take a deep dive, and we do it based on the characters that are in the episode. So check that out if you haven't yet. But yeah, I'm going to go to... look, there's no easy way for me. Do you want to outro you, Kieran? Sorry, I'm trying to multitask.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm dating hard.
Alrighty, that's gonna do it for Kieran then tonight, dude. Appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, I woke up too early and I worked all day, so I'm not super up to date on wrestling either. I've seen half of Grand Slam, so not that I don't know everything that happens, anyways. But yeah, I'm good to go. I'm good night, everybody.
Good night, Kieran.
I don't know why people insist on slamming doors at 11 o'clock at night for fucking hours on end.
What better time to do it? Everyone gonna know you're mad then.
Johnny,
I was gonna say before we get on to the next topic, I saw some people talking about the monsters and when we're gonna cover it. When it's available in Canada, not on Netflix as of today in Canada.
Oh, really? I was gonna
I just wondered that because I was like, wait, I didn't think that was today because I hadn't seen it, and I've looked in my upcoming on Netflix. It's not listed at all.
We'll get it covered sometime in October. I'm probably not going to have very many good things to say about it.
It is getting an actual release, so there will be ways to see it legally in Canada in the near future so that we can talk about it.
It's not that. So, anywho, Andor. Let's start with Tommy. I know he needs to get the hell out of here, dude. Your thoughts on Andor thus far? What's percolating in that mind of yours?
Well, funny thing I ended up showing off with, this will be our icebreaker. No one can say there's no underwear in space anymore.
Wait, that's a topic of conversation that people have actually had?
Yes. That was apparently
You're
back
doing
in
it again.
the day. That was something George Lucas said to Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, that was his reason for her not getting to wear underwear on the set of A New Hope is they don't have it in Star Wars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clearly, I guess I'd never heard that story before.
I don't know how you've never heard that story before, dude. But
Underwear in space is not something I generally concern myself with thinking.
I usually don't wear underwear while watching A New Hope.
I mean, you nailed the title. I'll give you that.
Yeah, it was oh fuck. I can't even take you seriously, Jared. Shit. So that was pretty good.
Encourage him.
I'm really liking Andor because it's launching us into this whole. It's not the Game of Thrones of Star Wars by any means. You're never going to get a Star Wars Game of Thrones. You're never going to get it. It's not going to happen. But we're getting a more adult-centric Star Wars. That just starts with the the venue that the series opens in. The crowds being talked to, some of the interactions we're seeing. And I think there's some power behind that. This isn't your little kiddos Star Wars. Watching as they're 4 years old. That's probably the first time my oldest memory watching A New Hope. Right, so yeah, I wouldn't recommend this show for a 4-year-old. It's pretty exciting. I'm enjoying it so far. It felt like there were a couple spots that dragged slightly, but overall, I think that it just feels like Star Wars, right? I feel really pulled into it. Just what you're pulling up right now. I have absolutely no issue with seeing the planet, the location and the time periods and such all popped up on.
They should fucking do it more.
They fucking should do it more. There's no fucking thing wrong with it. People might complain about it, but guess what? They're gonna fucking complain if they don't have it anyway. They're gonna fucking complain about anything because people like to fucking complain. I fucking complain too.
There are millions of planets in Star Wars, and we've only seen like a half dozen. Come on.
Right.
I still don't know where Obi-Wan and Darth Vader fought in the Obi-Wan series. So
I thought the droid they brought in was a little goofy. I'm like, oh, are we getting? Do we really have to have a droid right now? Yeah. It's like, do we really have to have a droid already? Like, I assume we were going to get a droid whenever they bring in K2SO in this show, but like, really? But I don't think
K2SO is in this first season. Obviously, he has to.
I don't think we're going to see him in this first season either. Maybe the latter few episodes of it at the earliest. But like, I think we have to see him eventually, assuming the show's a success and such.
Yeah, 2024. So
I'm enjoying it. I got no complaints except for maybe some minor pacing issues at a couple spots. Kept keeping my interest, but it was good overall. I'm really enjoying it.
Johnny's thoughts so far, man. before I die.
Well, Johnny stopped watching after an episode and a half.
Are you fucking serious?
I am. But it wasn't because it wasn't interesting. It wasn't
Johnny
because
forgot
it
to
wasn't.
pay his Disney Plus subscription.
Yeah, it ran out in the middle of the second episode. No, I'm on a
Are
yearly
you
plan,
fucking
thank you.
serious?
No. Come on. If Jared's saying it, there's a 90% chance it's fake. I did stop watching, but not because it wasn't interesting, not because I'm not going to watch it, but because an episode and a half in, I started to feel like this is something I want to binge. This is something I want to go from all the way to the point an episode and a half in.
And you wanted to do 3 a.m. releases for this fucking show.
Whoa. I said that we would discuss that as a possibility back in like
There is
June.
no evidence, sir.
We discussed that back in like June. And then we did the Obi-Wan, and like by episode 3, we were both like, yeah, we're not doing this again. But you know, it felt like something I want to binge because an episode and a half in, I wasn't getting what I felt I wanted because it was Andor backstory, like building Cassian as a character, which I don't have a problem with. But to me, I built the show up on the rebellion. And I feel like by the time we actually get to that, it's going to be the end of episode 3. And that's just purely me guessing based on the fact they dropped 3 episodes in the first block. It takes that long to get to the rebellion that I just felt the Andor backstory is okay. I don't have a fundamental issue with it, but the series I wanted is the rebellion. I want to see the underbelly of the rebellion, you know, the dark, nitty-gritty rebellion that we've seen glimpses of in Rogue One and in stories that we've never gotten. That, you know, will I try and finish watching, you know, that last episode and a half once 4 hits on the presumption that, you know, we start getting what I want? Maybe. Or I'll just wait until the end and watch the whole thing. I don't know yet, but
Without excessive spoilers, I'll just throw it out there before we get away from this. If you're expecting to see that at the end of 3, you're expecting too much out of the ending of 3. I thought the ending of 3 was a bit sudden.
Okay, so here's my retort to what the both of you said. People just go watch the movies too far. I don't have time to counterpoint all these guys because we will be here another fucking 2 hours, and I'm way too tired for that, and have a lovely 12-hour shift ahead of me tomorrow. So, the show is the Game of Thrones of the Star Wars universe. So I'll disagree with Tommy's comment. It's also done at a much higher quality than their other shows, which at the same time is good because, hey, look at it. It looks fucking amazing. And at the same time is also bad because it's like, oh, why did my Obi-Wan Kenobi show look like shit half the time? And the answer is they cheaped out. You know, one is done on mainly practical sets with just a little bit of stagecraft, and the other one's done on 90% of stagecraft. And I'm sorry, but stagecraft is not at a point where that can be like your only thing that you go to. It is just not there yet. It's not. And yeah, and I disagree with Tommy. I do think by the end of episode 3, there's definitely those seeds of the rebellion, you know.
Seeds. We're not at the rebellion.
Well, you might not be at the rebellion at all in season 1. I don't know, but like,
I mean, that's not like I maybe I just emphasize that too much. That's not so much what I'm after. It's just like that the rebellion story. Like, this is interesting as an Andor backstory, but that's not what this series sold itself as. You know, like it didn't sell itself as this is Cassian's history pre-rebellion. Well, that's a completely different selling point than this is what Cassian did for the rebellion before Rogue One.
Yeah, I say you really do got it. This is why, like, I don't know why they ever intended to drop 1 episode at a time here, because not only are they disgustingly short yet again, but. And no, 12 episodes doesn't make it any better. It's like, oh, look at our 12 half-an-hour episodes. I couldn't imagine how much this would have gotten torn apart if week 1 was just episode 1. and then week 2.
Oh God, that would have been awful.
People suggesting why don't they do? Not that I've seen this. The Sherlock thing, where if every 3 episodes is its own arc, which is what it sounds like, why the hell aren't you just doing like 4 90-minute episodes or 4 100-minute episodes, a mini series, if you will? And I mean, we know why they want you to buy more weeks of Disney Plus, but it feels so.
When you're going to drop them in bulk like this, that first one should have just been a one super episode. And I think that sells itself completely different, because by the time we're at the end of that, I think the story's in a place where it's like, okay, we've explained Cassian's backstory and why the rebellion becomes important to him. Now let's show him in the rebellion. And if it happens that way, then it's complete, I do the whole thing if it's all 3 episodes in one block. But because of that, it just, halfway through the second episode, it felt like, this isn't what I wanted, and now I gotta sit through another episode and a half of this before I think it's even gonna start being what I want it to be.
It's so far for me, it's everything I wanted it to be and then more, but I definitely would not have felt that way if I only seen the first episode. Like, it took me seeing all 3 episodes, which took me some time. I think it took me like 4 days to watch all 3. But it's I think it's getting into that stuff. Although you don't like the prequels and they're going to Coruscant and there's going to be a lot of walking and talking for the next couple of months.
I have no issue with walking and talking. Like, I mean, I love The West Wing, and that's literally all that series is walking and talking. But that's what I was promised. Like, as long as the walking and talking with the, the rebellion, I'm okay with that. I don't mind the dirty backhand alley shadiness. I don't mind walking and talking inherently. I guess as long as the dialogue is good. If it's a lot of walking and talking that sounds like the prequels, then hard pass, because a lot of that stuff was just
the writing on this show.
Yikes.
Already
the writing is
way
superior.
Better. Yeah. Superior to any Star Wars, to be clear. Like,
outside of episode 5, I can't.
I don't
disagree.
Even I need to see more before I make that call. But like, they oh my God, Tony Gilroy had did an interview recently and said there is 194 speaking roles in Andor, which is insanity. And you can tell they're going for a lot of character actors. We've already seen a couple of Game of Thrones alums there in the first few episodes, which is no real surprise. But we'll watch closely and see where that goes. Check out Moose Too Far, Star Wars podcast. We'll be live next Monday, or not live, but an episode will come out next Monday of our review of episode 4, which I guess comes out in a few hours' time. Kind of just lost that for a bit. So, Tommy, where can everybody find you, man? I think you're done now. If you want to talk some wrestling.
No, I don't. You can find me here. Yeah. And in bed. Because I'm going to fuck to bed. Yeah.
It's such a one-sided relationship. I come on here and talk about his Halloween stuff, and then he just ditches me for wrestling time. Every week.
It's not my wrestling time. It's not my Halloween stuff. Check out our Fandom Empire groups and pages on Facebook, The Halloween fandom is picking up. If you're on that group, please play nicely. The main admin over there, Dean Renner, works very, very hard and could be a bit of a war zone. So, play nicely, share the toys, so on and so forth. And that's enough from me. I am going to bed. Thanks for tuning in.
Take it easy, Tommy. Before we get to our Dark Match Drive segment of this show, where there's a little bit of wrestling to talk about, I need to get the hell to bed, so it won't be long. I do want to take a second to thank this show's sponsor, the J-Man's Movie Cave. You can check out his YouTube channel, the J-Man's Movie Cave. Just punch it in your search bar, and he has a fresh review up of one of Jared's favorite Halloween movies, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Guess what? It's one of my favorite too. So check that out, everybody. Without further ado,
I
though,
just pulled it up. I'm going to watch it after this episode.
Jason's a good guy. I think you'll dig him. Dark Match Drive Time, guys. There's really just one question this week. It might, spur on a couple of other questions, but so it comes out that Malachi Black is basically saying,
You're all full of shit.
Reports, yeah, that they're full of shit, and I mean, maybe I'm being worked in the video, but to me, it seemed like a guy who was not like super pissed, but like legitimately kind of concerned with some of the narrative that was out there. I mean, because some of it surrounds the guy's mental health too. I can't imagine that being publicly exposed and being out there. And but anyways, I just want to say this before anybody says anything. When all the CM Punk stuff went down, which is around the time, I think we found out before All Out, Malachi Black was probably leaving, right?
Yeah.
So as all that discourse was going on during that couple of weeks and after All Out, I listened, and you can go on their YouTube channels and fucking find the videos, not necessarily what's written, but what was said, to Meltzer, and I listened to what Sean Ross Sapp said. I listened to Sean Ross more than Meltzer. And both of them, despite what any original ports said, that this guy is done with AEW. You're never going to see him again. Sean Ross was a little more...
he was more cagey on the why, but not the result.
Yeah, he definitely did not want to touch the mental health stuff, like at all. He was super respectful of that, which I give him full credit for. But when something like this comes out and you have it's going to sound terrible, but every Tom, Dick, and Harry reporting on it, every beat writer reporting on it, that it's fact he's gone. He was approached by WWE. He wants to go back there, but they won't let him out of his contract because there's like 4 or 5 years left on it.
Well, he says no. He says he never signed a 5-year contract. So Aleister Black himself disputes the length of the contract in reports.
In reports, or did he do that on a video?
He did the same Instagram video that I posted. The important part that was him saying he would be back in an AEW ring. That was a small part of a much longer. Now that might be an extension that he signed after the fact. He referred to his original contract not being 5 years, which is what everyone had reported. My guess is that it was like a 1 year that he then signed an extension, which is what Tony was talking about.
So I
because
think
by the time he probably signed an extension.
So I think he ended up getting lumped into a statement that Tony Khan had said about other guys, because I know Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, I believe, are signed for 5 years, and
Miro also signed a 5-year extension.
Yeah,
around the same time.
So I think he kind of got lumped into that idea of ex-WWE guys signing for that length of time, but he never specifically said that Black was one of those guys.
The point I want to get to, and I know you guys are way deeper in this than I am, and I've been pretty vocal just about like when you have, I'm not even talking favorites, guys you enjoy watching on TV, CM Punk, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Malachi Black, House of Black, was digging all of that. And then in like not the blink of an eye, but it might as well be a fucking blink of the eye.
I mean, it really was
just like that. For me, it's been really deflating. I have not watched I've watched one full episode of AEW since then. And other than that, I've watched like the main event, or I've watched the beginning and the end, and I just get pulled away with a newborn. And I do feel a little hurt, if I'm being honest, just over the events that have transpired. I'm sure a lot of fans do. But I will say this, seeing how the Malachi Black thing, assuming he's being honest, has played out, I now don't believe a fucking thing that is out there. I don't. There were so many people literally adamant that this is how it's going to be. This is how it's going. And then the guy himself, if he's telling the truth, because I don't know if he's lying, if he's being upfront, it really puts a dark cloud over basically every fucking report that's come out the last month on everything, in my opinion. I think you got to take everything with a huge grain of salt. And I'm not saying that as a pro CM Punk guy, because I don't feel any more confident about that situation, if I'm being honest. But just in general, like I don't know if the information that all of us are getting is on par right now, or if AEW has tightened the ship and the only shit that's coming out is bullshit.
I mean, to me anyway, a lot of the Malachi stuff came out pre All Out. And things that have come out, been trickling out in the last few days anyway, are that he had a meeting with Tony before All Out, and they sort of, I don't want to say squashed their beef, but they, did the professional thing and met in an office, and Malachi aired his grievances and discussed whatever, personal issues he's going through, mentally, physically, whatever the case may be. And they worked out a solution that allows him to take the time off to get himself right, however he feels he needs to do that, then come back. So, I mean, it's one of those things, like, I've said it before, that this whole summer is just a microcosm of every possible wrestling chaos that can happen, all happening at once. We're mixing in the 97 screw job with, like, there's really no comparison to the Vince situation that's going on. Like, that's just a one-of-a-kind situation of itself, but we're mixing in, screw job elements with the backstage drama and all that crap with the Vince stuff and the takeover. Like, I guess the closest example might be, the Vince's territorial takeover in the early 80s when he took the company from his father and changed the direction and brought in all of these territorial guys that built up, the product, allowing it to go national. And now here Triple H and Stephanie and Nick Khan taking over and being put in these positions of power, that they're starting to reach out to people that, legally they shouldn't be reaching out to. Like, that company employs so many lawyers that I don't know how somebody doesn't sit them down and say, you cannot call these people.
So, interesting point to that, and it kind of ties back into the Malachi Black thing about reporters. So there was a report going around the last couple days from, now here's the catch, from Andrew Zarian at Wrestling Observer, and it got really in detailed about what happened with the WWE tampering with the AEW contracts, and it pointed out that they tried to contact Swerve Strickland, they tried to contact Keith Lee, and they both basically told WWE to fuck off. Well, 12 hours later, Andrew Zarian tweets, "I did not report any of this."
Yeah.
So, but by that point, it had already reached all the news cycles. Websites were reporting this. All sorts of chaos is going on with all these specific details on this tampering story that was not originally reported as said.
How did it come out?
It's one of those things
somebody just
where
on Twitter.
this is one of those experiences where social media is the worst possible thing we could have, because if this happens in like 95, 97, then the sources come direct. You read the Wrestling Observer newsletter, you read the PW Torch, you read these sources and read these reports directly from the source or from the reporter. Whereas in social media, some Tom, Dick, and Harry who changes his profile name and profile header for half an hour puts out a tweet pretending to be Andrew Zarian, Dave Meltzer, Wade Keller, Sean Ross Sapp, any of these reporters of repute, and puts out a fake tweet that all of a sudden people who don't look deeper, who just read it at face value, it spreads like wildfire. If I had a nickel for every time I've gotten a Twitter notification because it matches my interests for something that says football is a big example of this. Like, I get fake Adam Schefter tweets every Sunday, that blank is injured and out. And it's like, is this real? Is this fake? I need to set my fantasy lineup. Is this actually happening or is this not happening? That so much of that happens. It just spreads like wildfire before anyone has a chance to, it's a quote that I heard. I think it's a West Wing quote. Lies will spread, can put its pants on. It's reality that by the time the lies have spread like wildfire, by the time somebody says, hold on a minute, I didn't actually say that, everybody is reporting it as fact. And it's one of those stories that become fact. Like, I mean, a prime example for me, as a kid, I was 100% certain that the Ultimate Warrior had died in 1990. And this was a different guy pretending to be the Ultimate Warrior because that's what I'd been told. That's one of those ancient wrestling myths that spread like wildfire that everybody looks at and be like, A, why did we believe that? And B, where did this come from?
This reminds me of that time where I met Ian, who Johnny. First time meeting, we got into like a 2-hour conversation. I was shopping at the store he was working at. We were just like geeking out during Star Wars. Yeah, fucking guy's getting paid to just talk Star Wars basically while not doing his job. And it went so well. And then like one of the last things he says, he's like, "Oh, before you go, are you excited for that Knights of the Old Republic live action TV series that's coming?" And immediately I was like,
You poor soul, you.
yeah, like I knew. And I had to be that guy to be like, because like that was our thing back then, like Star Wars all the time. I had to be the guy that was like, yeah, so that's not happening. So
I'm sorry to crush your dreams, but I'm about to crush your dreams.
yeah, I don't know, guys. It seems, I think everybody should take everything with a massive grain of salt going forward.
I think you should have been doing that prior to this. It just proves people weren't doing that. You know? Like I came up like Jer in the era where occasional, there was facts and there was fiction and they were all together. So you took a lot of things with a grain of salt. And the only thing you read as 100% factual were results reported. And even sometimes those were completely wrong. I've seen cards that I physically attended reported on like wrestling news sites where it's like, that match didn't happen. That guy wasn't even on the card.
Yeah, it's rough because back in the day we were able to read news weekly and there was nobody to discredit what we were reading, and they had sources, and 97% of the time they were getting legit sources. I mean, yeah, they would get worked once in a while as the boys would do, but they were fascinated. The boys were fascinated by the fact that who is this Meltzer guy and how is he getting all this stuff? So he had legit sources, and now it feels like everyone is trying to be that. And if they can get away with a story, like Fightful debunked the idea yesterday that Bobby Fish tried to get Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly to leave AEW with him. That was the story that came around. Bobby Fish's contract came up and he was going to try and get Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly to come to WWE with him. I mean, it obviously didn't happen.
Was a tattletale, and Adam Cole was a tattletale who told Tony fire Fish.
Exactly.
No,
like
his
as far
contract expired.
Yeah, like the most reporting I've seen from the contract tampering stance is FTR were contacted by feelers at some point. Period. There's no
Swerve Strickland was
nothing
contacted.
further. It is what it is. And that Swerve Strickland was contacted, but he referred them to his attorney and had absolutely no interest in returning to the company. That's it. So
somebody doing the right thing in wrestling. That's just
exactly
anathema.
Right?
That doesn't happen.
Yeah,
your contract tampering. Call my lawyer if you want to talk about my contract. Like
exactly.
What?
There's no bullshit attached to it to where it's like, oh, Keith Lee was mad about how they treated his wife, or no, just report what is happening without the need for these juicy details. Sometimes news is fucking boring. That's okay. You might not get as many clicks, but hey, you're going to be authentic about it. And I think that leads to better credibility than having, oh, hey, I got, 10 million views on my fucking website for this report that's, 65% true, but I threw in a couple extra tidbits for people to talk about on Twitter. Like, fuck off. It's not hard. It's fucking reporting news from sources. Obviously, they can't out their sources because of the nature of wrestling media, and I get that, but it's just stick to what you're told and don't turn it into such an opinion or theorizing why it could be this way, or just report what happened and move on. That's all you need to do. You don't need to get your 2 cents in every single time. You know,
That's
that
another
hard.
thing that leads me towards corporate sources versus wrestling sources, is that stories that are wrestler reported. This is just my experience in reading the things that troll jobs done by wrestlers are outed by the reporters. Like when they report something that's ends up being blatantly false and wrong and makes them look bad, then they will happily out the source if it is one of the boys in the back, because then they'd be like, well, this is what worker X told me, and so we reported it as fact. When it's a corporate source, that's when they're more, well, we can't out our source. But if it's one of the boys, it's more of a, this is your business. You fucked me, now I fuck you. Corporate guy, I'm going to be more cagey and treat you like an actual reporter would. I don't know if that's just sort of a changing of the times, that they've realized we can't just keep outing the boys when they give us bullshit, because it's 90% bullshit now. But
JBL is notorious for getting outed for feeding Meltzer fake stories.
Yeah.
So guys would do that just to see if they could, and then Meltzer would basically say, yeah, I got fed a bullshit story by JBL. Obviously, he can't be trusted.
Mm-hmm. There was at least one line like that in every Observer from like 97 through 2005.
Yeah, like the Anabolic Warrior.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that is going to do it for this Fandom Empire show. We will more than likely have more time for wrestling next week. Although we enter October, and there's a good chance we're going to be doing some watch-alongs for some of the upcoming Tuesday night shows. So be on the lookout for that. Jared,
I'm excited for Halloween Havoc.
Halloween Havoc had some... I know it's sort of back anyways, if you can call it that. But I used to like the Halloween Havoc sets. I thought
dude, that was awesome.
I'll give WCW all the credit in the world. Like pre-99, they had some of the best sets in wrestling.
They were fun.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the Bash at the Beach.
Yep.
Where Hope
Spring Stampede with the corral setup.
Yeah.
And Jared, where can everybody find you at, man?
You can find me on Facebook at the Dark Match Drive. We post news, memes, opinions, updates, all sorts of stuff there. It's a pretty rocking place if you're a wrestling fan. We're up to, I think, 116 people right now. So lots of daily posts. If you want your gossip, news, all sorts of stuff, check it out. And I also run a Google Drive for $10 a month for almost 5 terabytes of pro wrestling. Working on some Lou Thez promotion from 1976 right now. So plenty of hard to find footage, and I'll eventually get around to working on Portland and, all that fun stuff. So if you like old school wrestling, you like new school wrestling, it's all there. You won't need to look anywhere else. So hit me up on the Facebook for more information on that.
Johnny, where can we find you at, man?
Oh, man, you can find me here, there, and everywhere. But mostly you can find Bros Before Pros Gaming on Twitch, where we stream 3 to 4 times per week, playing different variety gaming. Lately, it's been very sports-heavy, but games coming up in the near future that are not sports. Gotham Knights, Marvel Midnight Suns for this year, and then, of course, the new year got, Hogwarts Legacy and a whole bunch of other games that I'm excited to play. So it's going to be fun.
You can check out number one way you can support the channel is patreon.com/Fandom Empire. We do have a new episode of Lampkin Lane up there from this past Sunday, another one coming this upcoming Sunday, and then one more before Halloween Ends comes out. So that's patreon.com/Fandom Empire. You can also check out our Game of Thrones show on the channel, House of the Empire. It's up now. Our full spoiler review and breakdown of episode 6 is live on there. And you can also check out Moose Too Far, a Star Wars podcast where Ian and I discuss the first 3 episodes of Andor and get a little geeky with just some small Star Wars Easter eggs and shit that are in those episodes. Click the like button, comment, subscribe, all that shit. Thanks for coming out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. I miss Name That Wrestling theme already. Anyways, thanks, boys. Appreciate
Fabulous Rougeos.
And thanks to the show sponsor for tonight, Mr. J-Man's Movie Cave himself. Check him out. He's got a Halloween 3 review over there. Jared's going to do that.
Hell
now.
yeah. How
I'm
about
doing it. We will see you all on the next show. And until then, stay classy.